And that's the sound for game on here at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships 2024 Div 1. My name is Phil Shields.
And I'm Katie Snellgrove.
Welcome to this second live stream of the day. It's going to be a big one, I can guarantee that. It's Manly versus Chile. But before we start...
we just wanted to once again acknowledge that we're on Warramai lands here and pay our respects to the traditional owners and elders past, present and emerging. And we're going to get into another great game of Frisbee here, another pool play game.
Absolutely, and a big shout out to all our First Nations players as well. So, Chile are ranked 6th, Manly are ranked 1. This is game 4 for each in their pool. There are 5 in their pool. It's going to be a big one. Neither have lost yet. So this will be the first L for one of these teams. So it's not going to be happy. It's going to be tears at the end for one of these teams. And we have Chile in white. They'll be on the right of this screen. And the big GAC is going to start up on the first line of the day as well. That's good to see. Manly in black to left of screen. And it looks like they've got the disc, so they'll be pulling, they'll be on defence.
And as you can hear, maybe we've got a little bit of a breeze here today. It has picked up slightly since this morning. And it is swinging a little bit, sometimes tending to go across the field towards the far sideline. But a little bit of a kind of upwind, downwind feeling at the moment.
It's a bit hard to see. I have a feeling most of the wind is going right to left and slightly across the field away from us as you're looking on your screens wherever you are watching this live stream. Just a quick shout out to our crew today. We have Rex, we have Mike, we have Jay and Katie as well roaming.
It'll be interesting to see what defence Manly starts out with off this pool, as we saw some of the teams in the earlier games switch from a match to a zone look as the wind did pick up, and it was successful for both of them.
Yeah, I expect these two teams, as good as they are, while a zone look might be a bit frustrating, it won't be as shut down as it has been for some of the other matches that we've seen. So good start here. Chile over the head. Gak pulls that one in, looking for the end zone. I don't think he's going to throw much, a lot shorter than that. He'll want one throw in. That goes a little bit high, but reaching high is number 8. And asking for a stack in the middle. Gat goes in there, swung behind. The breeze is playing into it, and we're getting a lot of low to high discs. Bit of a pick maybe there.
Yeah, it looks like it. That maybe that Manly player just got blocked from keeping up with the Chile player, as we get a flick break side, and they're under it. And a first point on the board for Chile. A nice clean hold. Absolutely.
I love the way Gak was the decoy there. Went up for the big reach. I don't know whether those knees are holding out as they used to, but decided to let it, decided to let it go to his teammate who is behind him. He's got eyes in the back of his head. He knows what's going on.
He must have done it on purpose. As we see the replay there, a couple of the throws just slightly going over the hands of the Chile players, but good heads up from Gak and the other Chile players there to keep that one in their hands, backing up their teammates as needed, which is always very helpful in conditions such as today. As we might just have a talk through as the teams get set up of how the rest of the tournament has panned out for them. So for Chile, both teams actually haven't lost so far. Chile beating the Sunflowers on Universe 15-14 and Pie Wagon 15-11 yesterday, and also coming away with a nice win against Ellipsis this morning.
Fresh off of that game.
Both teams, this is their second game of the day, so maybe a little bit of fatigue in the legs as the pull comes up from Chile.
Received low to the ground. Manly in black. More of a traditional black setup for them. As it goes down the far sideline, received by Bell. Checks the disc, make sure it's okay. Big wide around swing coming away from him into the hands of Hudson. looking down through. That was a nice undercut that came from Anderson. Looked off though, so not appreciated there. Goes to a different player, comes back to Hudson.
Sending a flick to the end zone. It's a bit bladey, and Chile gets in the way. Just didn't have the kind of shape that the thrower would have wanted there, I don't think.
No, and a bit surprised Davey pushed that to ground rather than catching it. Would have been an easy catch for him. With this wind also, that's, you know, it could have bobbled up, could have been a store, could have been regretting that decision. In the end, lucky. So is there more looking at the disc? Yeah, there is more looking at the disc. So as I said earlier, one of the players looking at the disc, so it must be a bit of a bend in that that's not to their liking. Looks okay-ish to me. We've got a couple of game advisors here today to look at stuff as well. And we get Chile walking it to the front of the end zone, pushing it into the wind. They will be as they travel the full field. That is their goal before they score the point. That one's low to the ground, picked off. That was a worm burner. Great dive to the left to pick that up and save it. Nice pivot. Hands it off to, Narayan as it comes up the near side.
Chile looking for the long shot here, but happy to work it through that tight defense that Manly's putting on. Keeping it up off the ground, doing well under pressure. Manly not wanting to let free passes off. And we can hear the sideline energy today has lifted substantially for this game. Both teams knowing how important this game is to get a good seeding for the quarterfinals later this afternoon.
Blisa to Narayan. Fake flick up the sideline. Strong cut there. That's looked up the sideline, travelling well. Looked off again is Wong, who's done very well so far, and it ends up in the hands of Davey, running away from that high put hammer, and well taken in the end. So Chile looking good at the moment, extending their lead to zip.
Yeah, that was a great read there from the receiver in the end zone. That hammer did look like it was going to run away for him, and he managed to keep his hand around that as we see the replay, leaving his feet. I think everybody was just kind of watching and waiting for that one.
Yeah, it was heart in mouth sort of stuff. Does a nice exit roll out of that, but comes away with the disc close to the chest.
And Chile with first break of the game.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. They'll be looking to push and extend that lead. Now it looks as though GAC will take a leave of absence. Leave it up to the young pups, as we say. But I'm sure it won't be the last we'll see of him.
Now I know GAC playing in the Opens division earlier in the year for Chile. The Chile Opens team had a huge part to play in that team's success at the Australian Ultimate Championships, getting the bronze there. As the pool goes up, Manly to receive. Let's see if they can convert this one and prevent Chile from getting an early lead. Manly, I believe, are the top seed for this competition. They might not have been in this position so far in the tournament.
No. So looking upfield, Manly a little bit stagnant. They're throwing into the wind.
Bit of a bubble there.
Moss comes up, puts it onto the knees, straight as you can. Brewis, the receiver. David Brewis just streaking away from his player, made good separation. Defense didn't even bother to chase him after that was put.
Yeah, that throw had a lot of spice to it. So that had to be put kind of right to where that receiver was running into. And it was good hands from Noah Moss. Little bubble in the air just before that on the small dishy pass. Managed to keep it alive as Manly gets their first point on the board for the game. And I'm sure they will be happy with that one.
Yeah, they don't want the game to get away from them. They don't want this Chile's team to get into a 4-0 break. That can be quite hard to reel back and come back from. So happy to keep it just 1 or 2 away at the moment, preferably so that the tally is in their favour, but at the moment they're in the negatives in terms of the overall tally, so trailing by 1 point.
As we see pull coming up from Manly. And Gak to receive. Chile seeming to set up in a sort of horror offense here. Really working through those key handlers, and the cut timing is great there from number 32 for Chile, and he's got it in the end zone. Toes it in. And there's a celebration.
Turner, the receiver. Nice play there as well. Gak receives, sends it off to teammate, cut up the sideline. As soon as it gets in the hand, looks deep, one of his favourite plays, sends it on a string to the receiver, and Turner the happy recipient.
It will be interesting to see how Manly kind of use their strategy to shut down those kind of plays from Chile. As we know, Gak is a very experienced player, does love to send it long, and when it comes off, it's very hard to defend. So seeing what Manly can do to shut down those movements could really change how Chile has to play their offense.
Absolutely. So Manly will have to look through their playbook and maybe find something different to do both defensively and offensively to grab a few points back. I don't think doing what they're doing at the moment, even though this is still the early stage in the match, I don't think doing what they're currently doing is going to give them the W on the board.
As we see Noah Moss receiving the pull. Manly happy to work it through those handlers. Chile doing a little bit of a poach there to start off with. Leaving those players on the kind of high side alone. Doing well to stop the downfield option, but Moss sends another zingy one to the end zone, and Manly has caught another one of those fast backhands.
And that was a straight line, straight to Botham Clark, I believe was the receiver of that one. Happy as you like. Oh, sorry, wrong team. Zabel, Matt Zabel. My apologies for that.
Yeah, that was great there from Manly. It did look like maybe the handlers were a bit stuck with not many downfield options, but perfectly timed cut there into the end zone. And saving them some energy. You don't really want to have long grinding O points at the start of the game.
Save your energy, absolutely.
Manly's run to this game has been also 3 wins. Or we're pretty sure. But yesterday, winning against Ellipsis 15-6 and the Sunflowers 15-5. So both quite convincing on the scoreboard. And then playing against Pie Wagon this morning.
Yeah, Pie Wagon, bottom of their pool. Manly ranked number 1. I'd be surprised. I haven't been given any feedback on that game, but totally surprised if Pie Wagon came out victors of that one.
As we see Manly setting up with a match defense. Gak with the disc. Chile working it through the middle. Sending it long down into the end zone. Number 46 is there, but we've also got a few Manly players. Manly gets the hand to it, but Chile comes out the winner.
Narayan settling things down for Chile. Good thinking on the spot, especially being so close to the end zone. Would have been so easy to do almost exactly what he did, which was to throw it away and not hit the target. So after all that good work to settle it down, pushes it too wide. Maybe the wind factor didn't take that into consideration when it left his hand. But there's a turn which Manly will gladly accept.
I'm sure they will. As we see Manly working up the far sideline, and another unfortunate drop there. Just giving it back to Chile as Gak runs it up to the disc, wanting to take advantage of the change in tempo. Chile, can they keep it calm as we see a pick call downfield?
Yeah, it's interesting to see in the previous set that Chile had in this point, whenever it went into the hands of Rigaki, his eyes immediately and only went for the end zone. I think you saw that as much as I did. He doesn't want to waste time or potential of drops before the end zone. Throw it to the end zone. If the drop happens there, much happier than if it happens without even contemplating a score.
Exactly. As we see Langston going for it, just gets tripped over but hangs on to it. Chile on the end zone line here, choosing to be safe, dumps it back to Gak. Looking for the hammer, but he's got a nice flick into the end zone. And Chile's got another one on the board.
Yeah, good to see their receiver Turner again in the thick of things. So score is 4-2 to Chile.
And based off the seedings, maybe not the opening scoreline that we expected.
No, I think we knew it was always going to be a close match though. 1 versus 6, not too much separating the top of the pool, and given that they are in Pool A and we've got a snake draw, it's all going to be close at that top, I have a feeling.
What is the snake draw, Phil?
So we've got 3 pools, A, B and C. We've got first seed will go in A, second in B, third is in C, and then we'll go back again. Fourth stays in C, fifth goes in B, and sixth goes in A. So it snakes around like that, hence the call of a snake draw for all of those who are playing along at home. Great question.
As Chile up with the pool. It's from number 23, Bleeser. Nice and deep into Manly's end zone. Manly getting the first pass away safely. Manly kind of setting up in a side stack here, maybe trying to free up that inside lane. Good movement there. Chile with a tight match defense, and it goes up to the end zone. And beautifully read by Manly. That was number 23, Kim.
Yeah, defensively just lost, had the back to the disc, as you would have seen there. You might see it on the replay in a moment. Looking left, looking right, unable to find that disc to be able to get a defensive hand on it. And Manly came up with the easiest of catches. We see it here on the replay. Nice cut under, turn around, and then back. You can see here defensively, looks to the left, looks to the right, doesn't find the disc, and the Manly player out the back takes one of the easiest of catches to score that you will see.
Manly has done well with their long shots to the end zone. They haven't been too floaty, they haven't been leaving it to chance with the wind. And the players have done well to read where they're going to go. Just running onto it, really. No high grabs or layouts for the goal yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So Manly with the pull, Mackay takes that. Looking to receive. The disc goes out of bounds, and it looks like Davey will take that into the brick mark. Chile set up in a horizontal while the disc is being brought to the cross. And let's see what the set play is here. I suspect it'll be at most 2 passes, maybe 1 short, 1 deep, or just maybe straight to the deep. Off to the sideline.
Langston looking for somebody, but we've got a bit of a tussle in the middle of the field just in front of her. Talked out very quickly between the players. Chile to retain possession.
Yeah, Davey very nice there. It was a bit of body contact. His defensive match went to ground. It was very well spirited. He stopped himself and said, you know, that was my fault. Let's stop play, let him get himself up off the ground because that was my incidental contact. And play resumes, still with the disc in Chile's hand. So we have Turner with the disc. He's looking for something under. Finds it in the form of Ragaki. Moving the disc nicely forward with good flow and good separation. looking for the end zone there. Rigaki working twice as hard as the rest of them. And there was some shoulder to shoulder contact. And Zabel calls that himself. Comes in on 0. Looking for the end zone maybe now. There was a pick or an early start in that reset. People very twitchy, wanting to get that score, getting the disc in hand. You can tell that. So the restart happens. Rigaki looking. There is a nice up the line cut.
Chile wanting to keep calm in this tiny pocket here. Gak getting good movement there, swinging across the side of the field. I think that's Kabai under the disc. And she's done well there to time that cut perfectly off Gak's movement.
Absolutely, no. Good strong flow, good movement, good up the line, and then a swing for the score is great play from Chile. The score's now 5-3. You see that again. It's perfectly weighted. I think initially she might have thought that might have been a bit too far ahead of her, but as soon as she realised the float that was put on it, no trouble whatsoever.
What do you think's going through the Manly heads of the Manly players at the moment, Phil?
Look, I think both these teams are experienced enough and have met each other enough times not to be overly intimidated. However, I won't lie, I think no matter what team you're on, just the presence and influence Rigaki has both positively and negatively on teams cannot be underestimated.
She does have a lot of experience playing in high-level competitions, as we see Moss picking up the disc for Manly. Bit of a mismatch there as he sends another one long to the end zone. We've got a few players running underneath it. Are they going to come down with it? And Rigaki, huge D there to prevent that score from happening. Maybe a bit of a discussion.
Yeah, I think Devereaux thought he had that. There is a contested contact in the end zone. Understandable. I think Devereaux thought that he had it, and there was that contact, just enough to put movement maybe in his arm, the hand, might have had the grab, might have had to go through his arm. We'll leave that up to them for their discussion, but it does get sent back anyway.
We wonder whether Manly will try and do the same thing again. Looks like they're going to play it safe for now, regroup a little bit. And it's just taken up by the wind. Gaki is putting on pressure again, and he's knocked that one out of the sky. No call this time. Chile for a break chance. Swinging it to the middle of the field. Manly not wanting this to get much further down the field as Gak sends it and just slips through the hands of the receiver. Manly with another chance.
Yeah, Moss seeing that coming up. Good defense there, though, to stop the Hucks coming off. Moss is streaking along. He wants it. He's going to stop, turn under. No, he's going to keep going. Moss receives it. A lot of hard work running up the field in that handler position. He's happy with that one. Places it on the ground. Manly with another point to their name.
Yeah, great work there from Noah Moss. It's very hard as a defender when you're marking a handler and then they all of a sudden bust downfield looking for a long shot. It's very, very threatening kind of skill set to have, to be able to play in multiple areas, as we see that few turns there earlier in the point. Score is now 5-4, still to Chile, but Manly just gradually clawing back at that lead. It's looking like it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, staying in contention is Manly. And like we said earlier, if you let the opposition get away to too big a head start, that can be intimidating. So it's good to see Manly still in the fight, well and truly.
So we see a nice long pull there from Manly into the back of the end zone of Chile. Looking for it long. And we have got the long shot there from number 12 of Chile. Kabai's underneath it. She's read it well and just gets knocked down, but is happy to keep playing. And seems like there's been a stoppage, maybe just from the confusion, but it's tricky when that happens, when you stop when someone's fallen down, but they don't necessarily want you to stop playing. So
it's not actually, I believe, a call. It might be, but I believe it's not. You can continue from that. But again, traditionally with good spirit, if someone's on the ground, you'll call, hey, let's stop it. I think when you get into worlds level, though, they know the rules well enough to play on, and they also realise it is a competition at the end of the day. Nevertheless, back in play we have it, and we have Miller to Regaki for the score after that. So that was a good passage of play by Chile.
Yeah, looking good is Chile. I think that was actually Turner who might have scored that one. A similar number, 32. Unless I'm wrong, just looking at this replay. So we'll see another great throw and great grab there from Chile. Good positioning there, and good for that Chile player there not to get freaked out by the few players running around her. It's hard when you can kind of hear someone's footsteps. You kind of miss the disc sometimes.
I think Kabai's played enough games to get rid of those little jitters when you hear a number of opposition players thundering down on you. You know you've got one job to do, and that's to catch that disc, hold it, and release it so that your team has an opportunity.
As Chile is with the pull, running down on defense. A bit of a bobble in the air there. Don't know where that came off, maybe the foot. Chile has got Manly in a difficult position, and they have set up a zone for the first time in the game.
I'm not surprised with that. The wind is picking up, is gusting. It's picking up, blowing strong, almost a gale, then it's dying down. You can see maybe the trees in the background that are there blowing left to right. So this zone look isn't inappropriate under these conditions. You can also hear it in our microphone, so I suspect.
So it seems like we have a call here. Potentially something like a double team or something to do with the mark there. There didn't seem to be contact. As disc is back in. Manly with some jinky looks and a nice shot through the cup to the break side, opening up the field for them. Moss pointing to where he wants it. Manly keeping it safe in their hands, happy to work it through the handlers. Chile have switched to match. Kind of struggling to connect with downfield at the moment is Manly.
Oh, just a little bit of a bobble out of the hands of Rosenthal.
It's an unfortunate drop there just as they were cracking through. It's past the handlers, and Chile straight away, wasting no time, is on the break side.
Lisa with an inside flick. Gets it back. Knocking on the door now. Red zone territory. Will Chile... Oh, look at that layout. Is that something else?
That was huge. And he sends it long straight away.
Is that going to hold enough? No, giving up before he gets it. He is exhausted. Personally, I would have liked to see him continue. I have a feeling if he laid, there was half a chance. Maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't have made it. I think that could have been strategic there from Manly just to maybe try and get the disc a bit further away from their end zone, but Chile has shown they can work the disc down the field even in this wind, as there's a bid from Langston. Keeps that one alive. Manly's going to need another one of those blocks here as it's sent up into the air. A few players underneath it, and Manly comes down with it. Bit of a collision on the fall, back down to the ground there. Manly player does well to read that disc. Yeah,
went up high, took the one-handed grab to bring it down. Great effort there. Now, the question is for me, are Manly going to send it again to get that position, or are they going to play it safe and keep it in hand? Well, they've got it almost to the halfway point at the moment. 2 to 3 throws only. Another zip down the field, gains another 10 metres. Are they in send territory? They believe so. And a nice tip off of the hands. That was by Wong. Great defensive effort there.
She's done well to deny Manly of that goal. It looked like it was a good throw. It looked like it was going to the right player. And she's just gotten in the way of that one. Great read.
So the question is, are Manly trading potential points for yardage or not?
I think they were trying to get that one there. I think they were trying to score. I think that one seemed a little bit different to the one we saw previously, where we had the block on the end zone and straight away, without really looking, sent it deep. So they might be kicking themselves a little bit for that one there. Going to have to work to get it back here, as there's a good open undercut in the middle for Osmond of Chile.
As the disc moves upfield again to the halfway point for Chile. And movement is good. We've got a player going long in number 34. He receives that. Another couple of steps means that he's waiting right on the front of the end zone. Settles it back into the hands of Pickard.
And I think we've got a pick call there. A few players with their hands on their knees. It's been a long, tough point. It's regrouping.
Bit of respite. I think all players are appreciative of that. So Pickard now looking to centre that. Cuts across, doubles back, doesn't get the disc though. And we get Buxer, gives it to Bleeser. Back to Buxer. And now another good strong effort there by Wong. So Manly defence is holding up here, not allowing Chile to get in there. Are we going to see a pick? Are we going to see a break? What is going to happen? Straight down the guts. Managed to tow it in. That's a superb effort by Osmond. So great score by Chile after good strong defensive pressure by Manly to hold them out for a little while.
Great work there from Chile. Have to apologise to Catherine Buxer. I have been referring to her as Langston. That's my bad. So that was Buxer. She's done a lot of cool stuff so far in the game for Chile. Number 8. And Chile getting close to half here.
Yeah, 7-4 to Chile at the moment. So I think Manly have called a timeout, and I've said it pretty much in every game. As soon as that team gets 3 ahead at the first half, you call a timeout, settle things down, regroup, think what's the new plan of attack going to be.
Yeah, Manly did a lot of hard work in that point. They got close a couple of times to scoring.
As we saw then, defensively, they didn't do a lot wrong when they were holding Chile out at the end of that last point. It is a super big ask defensively to just do that forever. You know, there could be an easy turn, a random throwaway, but when you get to teams of this level where discs are delivered on a dime, and it's a one-on-one situation, eventually you're going to turn your defender inside out, gain 2 to 3 steps, gain a couple of meters on them, the throw is open, it's there, you get the score. So you can't hold them out forever. It's just about not giving up, not relenting with that defensive pressure, and that's really what Manly are going to have to do. The other end of that equation is once you get the D, you cannot turn it.
Exactly, and I think we've seen that a couple of times that Manly did force the defense, the D in that point, but then just couldn't quite capitalise. And if you give it back to a team that's of high quality, such as Chile, it's tricky to get it back.
Absolutely.
So we're coming out from that half-time, looking to see whether we'll come out with any different strategies on defence for Chile here, as well as what Manly are planning to do. Are they going to just go for a set play, try and send it long?
I think the work rate is going to be the biggest thing for them at the moment, and to value the disc as best as they can. Doesn't mean not sending it long if it's there, as you mentioned in the last point. If it's there, send it into the end zone. But it has to be put on that plate. It has to be set up right, has to be picture perfect. As far as execution goes, it doesn't need to look pretty, doesn't need to be in the mind of the handler who sends it 100%, but the end result needs to be there, and that is getting that point on the board. So Manly working it down probably about 10 metres out from their offensive end zone at the moment, so they're looking good at the moment as far as that goes. Slowly but surely, now they're only 2 metres out. We get a cut coming out, and a great defensive effort by Chile. Does not negate the point though. Manly get that. They claw the one back, and they'll be playing 1 point at a time to get it. They claw it back 5-7.
Yeah, great clean offense there from Manly. I think they've tidied up their throws a little bit, left nothing to chance, mostly hitting the chest on each pass, and a great grab under pressure from that receiver in the end zone there to make sure of it.
There's that bid there again. Great effort. Can't ask for much more than that defensively. But Manly too good on that occasion.
While we wait for the players to set up for the next point, we might mention again the AFTA survey that they have sent out on their Facebook page. They're just looking for anyone's feedback, players, non-players, coaches, anyone involved in Ultimate on the structure of the season. And where can they find that one, Phil?
So they find it on the AFTA Facebook page. There are a few QR codes floating around the place. If you're in the Ultimate Frisbee scene, you might be able to do that. But go to their Facebook page, follow the links there. There are 4 sections there. The 4th one is just really a section about asking for any other feedback, as we see that one being put. Chile picks that one up. Happy as you like. Chile put that one away as we go into half. Let's see if we can get that on replay again. That was pretty much a one-pass play.
I think it was.
So just saying, as we wait for that replay, go to the AFTA Facebook page, give them your feedback on what your thoughts are on the seasons. Do you like them as they are? Would you like to see them change? We see the disc being put up. There it goes. Big run, equal to the disc, and easy as you like. Pancake catch, spike it, and take the score. So that'll bring us to half time. Chile ahead, 8-5.
Are you in support of this review?
Yep. I think review is always a good idea. It doesn't necessarily have to amount to significant changes. It may well do, and that would be great. But a review is always a good idea, especially after such a long period since the last time it was reviewed. But it's become to sort of evolved into where it is without any sort of significant planning, I think. So that's my perception. A review and planning of a revised calendar is probably a good idea.
What changes do you personally want to see AFTA make, and why?
I would like to try to remove the division between the open women's and the mixed division and have them play together. That may not be practical straight off the bat, but I think it would open more opportunities for players in all three of those divisions to get more opportunities.
How do you think a consolidated calendar would benefit or affect the GAs?
Currently they're separated by 6 months. If they're separated by a few weeks or 1 or 2 months, then that could potentially be a little more difficult for some of the game advisors to participate at both of those events, where they might be able to do that at the moment a bit more easily. Possibly it makes it more accessible for other people that want to become game advisors and participate. Maybe they can get new opportunities there.
Why is it important that everyone gets involved in the process and has a say in this national calendar review?
Well, it's for everybody, and so everyone should have some input into what suits them. There's probably a large number of people that really enjoy the calendar the way it is now and prefer to be able to play either or both open women's or in the mixed division event. They can do both, or they can choose one and just focus on that. So, I think having input from everyone is going to be helpful. Each state has its own local competitions, its own climate, things that suit players in a particular area better than others. Having all that extra input is going to be important.
System shut down.
Welcome back to the second half of this final pool play game at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships here in Nelson Bay. We saw Chimichanga take half, 8-5 against Manly Miners. But we're in for a very, very tight second half, I think, Phil.
Yes, and we saw during that half break, Manly Miners were in a strong huddle. By strong, I mean they were focused. They were talking about what they needed to do to get themselves back into this game. They're trailing by 3 at the moment, and they're playing a good team in the Chimichangas. And so a lot was said there. Chile, on the other hand, very relaxed in their lounge chairs, quite happy, but they can't let this they can't drop the ball on this.
No, well, they often say 5-8 is the most dangerous scoreline in Ultimate for the person in front. As we see Manly send up a flick huck to the end zone, and is it going to come off? It does. That's probably exactly how Manly wanted to start off the half.
Absolutely perfectly weighted throw. Breeze non-existent. It had died down to nothing. So perfect timing for that as well. And a great run. So Manly, like you just said, very happy with that opening stanza in the second half.
It's an important clean hold for Manly there. Keeping their confidence up. Sometimes coming out of half, you can lose a bit of the flow that you did have, but I think that half was good for them there, allowing to regroup and reset after a couple of long points in the earlier half.
Now, I'm sure they would have penciled in their storybook for this point to get the D and get another point to make it 8-7. Work 1 point at a time, work their way back into this game.
As the pull goes up, Regaki to receive in the far corner there, looks off the first pass, but then decides it's safe. Number 43, Dingham Lewis with the disc, sorry. Manly putting on a match defense, but quite tight there. Really pressuring that dump. They do not want Regaki to have it.
No, Devereaux with his work cut out there.
Oh my God.
As
Sorry.
we say hello to Osmond, who catches that disc, puts it back into play as quickly as he can. Turner now holding it. Small dump to Regaki. And he puts it long. He's got enough spin on that.
Huge bid there from Kabai.
That
brings it down for Chile.
Was awesome. Look at the Chile faithful run on to celebrate.
We even got someone on crutches and a knee brace trying to run on there for Chile. How cool was that?
That was just something else.
The wind has just picked up there during that point.
As we see the replay there, how do you do to the receiver? Come straight towards us.
Almost got taken out.
And here we have Regaki looking long. This is where it gets sent. I don't know about you, I thought it was just going to be just out of reach, but that long lay at the end, fingertip grab, awesome effort.
Yeah, that was great work there from Kabai. Pull that one down. And things like that always lift the team's spirits, you know. Sometimes just seeing your teammate do that hypes everybody up and makes everyone else want to do something like that in the next point.
Lifts one team, demoralizes the other.
It was a good response to Manly's opening clean O point for the half, showing them that Chile's not about to be walked over. Manly with the disc centering once again to Moss. Over to number 13. That's Cherry. Manly on the far sideline. Just walking it back in there.
Lee to Moss, and there's a call. It's been retracted because it stays in the hands of Manly. So Moss with the disc. Key playmaker sends it to Brewis down that sideline. Moss almost caught unawares, has to lay out just to save that one. Fakes the hammer over the top, up the sideline, and there's a miscommunication. Narayan saying thank you very much for that easy D catch.
I think he was a bit surprised to have that in his hands as it goes up long to Chile, and that's number 23 in the end zone coming down with it. Chile with the break. That was Bleeser with the catch there for Chile. Definitely not how Manly had planned that point to go out.
No, and you can see there already, Brewis just devastated. He had his head down, huddled over at that I'll say unfortunate error, but error nonetheless. And like you said, I think Narayan as surprised as anyone, thinking that that was just a standard everyday pass to him rather than having to be an intercept. So unfortunately, Manly is going to have to keep their penciled in status for what they want. They can't pen that one in ink. And at the moment, we have another score to Chile. So we have 10-6 to Chile.
So as the pool comes up for Chile here, just recapping in case you haven't heard the start of the game, both these teams have won all of their previous matchups so far in the championships. So both guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals later today. This will just determine who they have to play, as Manly is passing it between their handlers, setting up, and for the long shot, Chile has covered that well, and it just wasn't to be for Manly then. You could see they wanted that one.
Yeah, looking to the end zone. And I think that the play we've seen so far from both of these teams is very indicative of their play style, which has led them to more or less the top championship shelf of a lot of the tournaments that these teams have found themselves in, which is not mucking around with the disc, but rather bringing it to a respectable distance from the end zone where they're within cooee, they can take a shot and send it to a receiver. A lot of them relying on fast offensive players. And that was a great box out there by the Chile receiver.
Another one in the end zone for Chile. They'll be very happy with that one. Gaining some momentum here, Chile.
Yeah, 11-6 now. So quite a number of unanswered points. Manly getting the first point of this second half, but not getting the next three. So Chile are definitely on a roll at the moment. They've got the momentum, they've got the flow happening. What are Manly going to do? Do they have a timeout left up their sleeves to call something? Maybe if they don't get this point. I suspect so, if they can. Otherwise, there's not really a lot that they can do.
And these teams being from different states, so Manly up from Northern Beaches in Sydney and Chile from Melbourne, likely haven't played against each other so far this season.
For a while, definitely.
As we can see the Chile players there keeping the intensity up, staying serious about this game, talking to their players on the line. And a good sideline presence here from both teams, which always helps on the field. Manly to receive, it might be floating out. And they're just going to call a brick there.
It is Moss will take control of that brick mark, picking up the disc, jogging it back. And we've got a flick force called by the mark, Dignam. Immediately throw to the break side handler. Nice under. Moss streaking away. Now, bit of a no huck look, I think, as we're standing off with the marks.
Yeah, they're taking their time, Manly here. Still looking downfield, but you can tell they're being a little bit more patient with the disc, knowing how important it is to convert all these O points from now on. Keep themselves in this game. That's a nice crossfield flick to number 30, Mackay for Manly. She's got a good mark on her, and a good dump mark there is preventing her from throwing what she wants to throw, but it seems like there might be a call, maybe a foul or contact on the mark. So just see that replay. Kabai doing well to kind of rotate around the mark, but it looks like she maybe does. There is some contact between the Manly and Chile players there on the arm.
The game advisor is brought in for their opinion.
Seems like we have an uncontested foul.
An accepted one.
Accepted.
New terminology. I just learned that myself. Got to stop saying uncontested. Moss with the disc in hand. Little cheeky one over the top. Big grab there by Zabel. And Manly get one back to make it 11-7. Still a long way to go for Manly, but nonetheless a good start, as they say.
As we just see that replay. Doing well there is Mackay to get it off. And then a cheeky high release backhand there from Moss to Zabel. And it works out in Manly's favour. 11-7 is the scoreline. Still well within striking distance for Manly if they can manage to get on a bit of a roll, but Chile has looked strong. They haven't let many breaks be converted by Manly so far in the game.
Well, Chile being very frugal with their turnovers. So as we wait for this disc to go up, one of these teams will have to look forward to Half Moon. What are your thoughts on Half Moon?
So Half Moon, we've got a team from, I believe, from Melbourne. And I've heard that there are quite a few high-level world players on that team, which would be a difficult matchup. I surely wouldn't want to be playing against them in a quarterfinal. So that could be part of the reason why both these teams are so determined to win, as that pool came back in there.
It floated, looked like it was going to go out for a while, and the disc gods saw fit to say to the puller, oh, let that land in.
And then Chile might have called an offside, I believe. So we did centre it from the middle, and I saw some hand signalling there. Gak with the disc, Regaki. Looking for it long is Miller, but she's not going to do it. Cheeky flick around to dump it. Opens up the field really well there. Sending it up the far sideline is number 43, Lewis. Chile slowing the pace down just again. You can see this with really strong teams, they can control the tempo of the game.
You can see where Regaki wants it.
In the end zone. Chile working through the middle, Manly working hard, trying to get a hand to it, and the disc goes to ground. Seems like we've got a call here. Bit of a cluster in the middle through a few players. Might have been a bit of contact in the back of Buxer there, and it's accepted. Chile retains possession. Manly working really hard to stop this one. Using a bit of a zone look in this wind, but Chile is too good. Turner with the score.
Yeah, that was a good set in the end from Chile to work it around up the far sideline and then just punch it, a simple one in for the score. Turner gladly accepting that one.
It would be interesting to have some stats. I think Turner's scored a lot of Chile's points so far today. Very safe hands. Great movement in the end zone.
Always happy to be on the receiving end of a disc when you're in the end zone.
So today the game time caps are at 100 minutes. So either first to 15 or time cap at 100. With the pull coming up from Chile. Manly looking to take advantage of a little bit of a shorter pull. Chile seeming to set up a bit of a zone. With 3 women matching players at the front. Maybe trying to stop that long downfield shot that Manly keeps trying to pull off. Putting some taller players in the end zone. Manly working it through the handlers here. Nice safe throws to the chest. Sending it down the far sideline. Looking strong. Chile holding that zone as Manly does a cheeky flick over the top. Getting it to the high side and a backhand to the end zone. Gak's underneath it, but we've also got another Manly player.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who that one was too. Given who was back there, both offensively and defensively, probably not one I would have sent. And miscommunication there between Rogacki and McInerney as Manly get the disc back. So Chile set up their zone defense again, and these ladies are working hard at the front there. They are running their legs off, and they're doing a great job shutting a lot of this down. We've got Rogacki back in the back defensively. Now we've got a bit of a through and a throwaway, but we've got a foul. Chop on the arm. Narayan accepts that. So the disc will come back to the last thrower. But we've still got a player outside here in Maguire, who is free as a bird and may still get thrown to. No, he won't. That gets centered again, sent back to Balassa.
The Chile players in the cup, they're working really hard to get the D. Almost came away with it. Manly looking for the around. Doing well so far, Manly, with their pivoting. Throwing those around break backhands. They're not afraid to do it upwind. Can Manly hold their composure? Oh, as it just goes over the top, and a great read from Chile there.
Yeah, Maguire not quite getting the extension that he'd hoped for. Narayan coming down with that disc instead. There's a nice one on a rope to McInerney, and it goes over to the far side. Now coming back to the near side, playing through Dignam. Back to Narayan as they make it halfway up the field. Narayan sees Rogacki in the end zone, and no hesitation about that. I mean, why wouldn't you when you see Rogacki in the end zone?
He's read it well there, and I think Chile, that was a very strategic point from them there. Loading the end zone with their taller players on defense and offense, knowing that they've got a good chance of coming down with that disc. Not only are they tall, they're good at reading the disc.
They were, but I was really impressed with that zone though. The work rate of the cup in that zone, that front line of defense was just outstanding. And it did keep Manly at bay. Manly did work it up, but it was very slow. And as we've seen already with this Manly team, the more throws you can force with them, the more likely they are to turn it one way or the other. So I thought it was a really good play by Chile to put that zone on there.
Definitely also forced Manly to play a little bit of a different offense. We saw more of their women matching players behind the disc, getting into their hands a little bit more than previous points. And keeping their huckers or throwers a little bit further away from the disc.
Yep. So scoreline 13-7. 2 points away from game for Chile, a bit further for Manly. So Manly may be looking to have to play maybe Half Moon or even Pompey. What do you thought on Pompey?
Pompey Magnus, last year's champions of the Mixed Ultimate Championships. So I also wouldn't want to be playing them. And I know they're quite a solid mixed team. They've been around for a while. Just see a call here on the field, maybe a pick. But yeah, either of those teams coming up next would not be an easy matchup. But there would be no easy quarterfinal really at all at a high-level competition like the Div 1 Mixed Championships. This player's just discussing when the disc is coming back in. Disc is back in with Manly. Looking for that dump reset. Chile doing well to mark it, but nice throw there. Stays in the hands of Manly. Over to number 30, Mackay. Looking long, and she does. Has she noticed it? Awesome heads up there from number 23, Kim of Manly. She's trying to get it off nice and safely. There's a lot of people around the disc making that hard for her. Hammer over the top to number 55. Pick call takes it back. Good work there from Manly, though. Really had the Chile players on the back foot, I think.
Had them guessing. Devereaux's work rate has been fantastic in this match. And let's see what happens. What can he do with it here? Over the top again. Oh, in the attempt to try and keep it in play, Lee sticks a leg out, but takes an eye off the disc for just a moment, so that initiates a drop. Chile get the disc back. It's in the hands of Miller at the moment.
Shame there for Manly. They can't afford to be giving those turns back to Chile.
No.
At this stage of the game.
Definitely not at this stage.
And great grab there from number 43, I believe that is for Chile. That's Lewis again. And as they send it up long to player in the end zone, and Manly this time reads the disc well. Devereaux getting in the way of that one. Mackay walking the disc up to the end zone to Devereaux. Good work there to read the disc in a bit of a bubbling wind. We've got number 13, Cherry. Nice flick up the line. Looking for it long in the end zone. A nice floaty flick. Great throw there from Devereaux to Gow of Manly to get another one on the board for the Manly Miners.
Yes. Still a long way to go before they reach that home plate. But there is good energy, good vibes I'm getting from this Manly Miners team. Each point they get, they're not giving up. They haven't lost hope at all.
And that's what you want to see, particularly at Nationals. You know, you don't come here to give up when you're a few points down.
No, especially at this level, especially when you're seated number 1. You haven't been seated number 1 because you give up. You've been seated number 1 because when the chips are down, you dig deeper. You find that extra bit you've got in reserve, both mentally and physically.
As we see this time, it's Chile's turn to come out on offense. And a cute little dog there on the screen getting involved. Moss with the pull for Manly.
So they really do need to get this D here. Bit of confusion as to who will take that disc. In the end, Wong picks it up, centers it.
Manly with a bit of a zone here. Trying to change things up. Oh, and a huge throw backhand from Rigaki, floating nicely to the end zone, but Manly's underneath it. Huge jump there from Balassa of Manly. Just floated up into the air and smacked that down.
I honestly thought he would not get that. That was a great effort.
It's like he jumped and then he went further up after he had jumped. Manly with a break chance. They're going to want to keep this one in their hands. We've seen them get a few break chances earlier through the games and just not be able to convert it. As Moss puts a floaty one up to Zabel. Over to Moss, and it's just too far out in front of him.
So on the quick turn, we've got Davey with the pickup, looking for a couple in play. Moss, was that Moss?
I think that was Zabel.
Zabel lays out.
Working after the throwaway just before is Zabel with a huge D to prevent a Chile goal, as it goes up for Manly. 33's running it down, and she safely into the hands of Rosenthal, number 33 for Manly. That's a great effort there from Manly.
That's another one, 2 in a row. 3 in a row, I think, actually.
Wow.
So they've got a bit of flow happening at the moment. Now the question is, how long can they keep it up? Again, context of the game, a big ask.
Definitely. We came from 8-5 Chile's way at half-time. Then in the early stages of this half, Chile did look to be on a bit of a roll, but Manly has, in the past few points, stopped that. And, what do you think Chile are talking about now in their team huddle?
Look, obviously I think they've called the timeout to stop the flow. I don't think they'd be overly worried. They're just really looking, let's stop their flow, let's stop their energy, let's bring them back down. They get in a group huddle, and over that 60 or so seconds, the adrenaline drops. Just physiologically, the adrenaline drops, the energy lowers a little bit. It's now an even playing field for both teams again. And Chile want that because for them, it gives them the upper hand. I think overall, Chile are the stronger team. And so with everything else equal, you'd expect Chile to come away with not only this point, but the one after to get the win. So that's an equaliser for Chile. Manly, on the other hand, have to recognise that and counter it by saying, okay, the adrenaline level has dropped. We've got to somehow get that energy that we had before the timeout, get it back into our heads, get that mindset of we are winners here. We want the disc. We've got the hunger. We've got the thirst. Let's do it. Any day of the week, we have an opportunity to outscore Chile. When it's on paper, other people might say, well, Chile will, on average, score more. But these teams are very dead even, so there's nothing really separating them for any point. Each point is individual. Bit of forward momentum there on the disc. That's okay, it'll be picked up where it is. And then Chile will look to maybe dump that and swing it, I suspect.
Manly once again setting up a bit of a zone. Looking like they're forcing towards the middle with a bit of a attack player waiting for that inside shot, but Chile's working through it quite well. Not liking too much pressure on the passes at the moment. Just holding on to that there. Manly doing well to stop that little up the line cut. Cheeky little scuba from Regaki, and it's not quite in yet, and Buxa catches it in the end zone for Chile, bringing the score to 14-9. They're within one, Chile.
Within one, and that's the magical number, I think, for any opposition team that finds themselves in a deficit in this position. It's just so much of a mindset at this point in time to go one away. Fluke, luck, anything can now be the factor for that 1 point. And so when you've got that in your head, the psychology of it just comes to the fore. What can you do? You can't afford a turn. You can't afford to be complacent. You can't afford anything. It's now everything you do matters. Now that works for some people, for others it doesn't. Let's see how this Manly team can react to that type of pressure.
We have definitely seen the odd game where a team does come back from quite a deficit, even with 1 point to go. So it's not totally out of reach for Manly, but it will take a mammoth effort And like you said, no errors here.
So I'm wondering if they call a line now or whether they just go with the flow naturally as it has been up to now, knowing that this is potentially their last point. Basically, they want their best players that, A, they know that they'll make good decisions, B, that they will execute both their throws and their catches so that they minimise the chance for a turnover, for an error.
As we see, Chile setting up in a match defence. Manly with it on the far sideline. Once again centering to Moss. Cherry in there in the handler space too. Cherry gets it and straight away swings it across. Are they going to pick it up? Bid there from the Manly player to try and keep it alive. Chile does well to avoid contact, but it's a turn. And Chile with a chance for the game here. Bit of a poach from Manly there, stopping that first undercut. Quite effective. Long shot, and it's a little bit bladey. Moss is underneath it. Manly once again with a chance.
Yeah, so Moss with quite an easy defensive catch there. Narayan just not getting that flick out correctly. A lot of edge, a lot of blade on that. Too high rather than flat. Manly back in with a chance at the moment. So as we continue there, and a throwaway as the intended receiver, Lee, just out of her reach. And Chile back with the disc. Who's taking it? They're a little bit unsure with the communication that's going on there. In the end decides to pick that up. Big around. Moss again. Trying to lift his team, trying to get that D, trying to give them another chance. We have Dignam with the disc at the moment, going up the line. We've now got Pickard looking towards the end zone. And Narayan knocking on the door.
Seems like we've got a bit of a call here just off the disc. One of the Manly players ended up on the ground. Might have affected his chances of keeping up with his player.
Maybe a push off. I'm not too sure if we can see that on replay or not. Maybe moving through is what the body language seems to indicate as they're discussing that. Will they ask for an opinion from the game advisor who's right there? Now the game advisor is coming in to give their view of what happened.
Can be quite good having these game advisors to give players a hand or a different perspective or just a rules clarification, particularly in the heated moments like this.
Yeah, I really like that as well. Again, non-binding decision. So the disc is going back. It is coming in on still count 6, I believe.
And so Manly here. Oh, huge defense from Manly.
So we've got Zabel running about 10 metres outside behind us. Comes in. Now that was interesting. If we had a drone to see what happened there, Zabel got the block, ran about 10 metres outside the field of play and then ran parallel to the field of play. As you saw Narayan run to get that. Moss then hammered it to him, but with no avail. As it's back in the hands of Narayan, and we get another call. Did you see what that call was?
I think that was a pick downfield. A few of these can happen, particularly as players get tired. Structure gets a little bit messy. I think we're coming back in on stalling 4. Chile, can they work this into the end zone and end the game here? Pickard with the disc. Pulling for it under is number 45. Looking on the end zone line, and it's just out of reach. Once again, Manly's disc. Can they hold on to it this time?
I love that give-go working up the field. Moss is going to go. Is it going to be sent to him? It is. Is it too far out the back? I think it is.
He's just tried to keep that in.
You can see the point where he laid was the point where he knew the end zone ended.
Frustrating there for Manly.
Yeah, and
so
Moss
close.
very frustrated, very disappointed with that. He did everything right, but just couldn't get the extension he needed to reel that back in and drag the toes at the same time.
As we see some happy sideline Chile players there. Taking a rest while their teammates grind through this long point. Huge bid there again from Moss, but Chile holds on to it. That's Miller with the disc. Nice flick again over the top to Dingham. Sending it long is Chile, and it just can't get into the hands of Pickard.
How exhausted would Moss be at the moment? He has put 110% into every effort in this point, potentially the last point, which is why he's just giving it his all. He looks like he's done. He's not moving anymore. I don't think he's given up, but he looks done. I'm sure he can dig deep. And there is a player going long. He doesn't have the energy to put it out of the hand for her, unfortunately.
Nice inside flick there for Manly. To Zabel, sending it up a little high, but does well to keep that down. Sending it long into the end zone. Is this going to stay in bounds this time? And it does. Manly comes out on top on that incredibly long point there.
Yeah, very well done to keep that alive. Manly reached double digits. They'll be happy for that one. I want to know if Moss is coming off. Yes, Moss. Is he coming off? He would be absolutely exhausted after that.
It is difficult when, you know, it could potentially be the last point of the game, so you have to give it your all, and then you do score another one, which is what you want, but if you've got to play again, then you've got to pretend like this could be the next last point of the game. As we just see some of the replay there. Nice shot there from number 34 of Manly. That was Bell.
So a lot of the key players for Manly have come off from that last point and allowed fresh legs on to do what they need to do to keep Manly in the game. I love this fighting spirit.
Me too. And the trust in the whole team to get it done. As Ragaki picks up the disc and centers to Davey, I believe that was. Buxer looking for it back, busting up the line, not going to get it. Sending it long to her though, actually. I'll eat my words. She does get the Frisbee, but just in the end zone. And Chile takes the game, 15-10.
What an ending that was. That second to last point was just so exciting. Chile, obviously, and Rogaki himself just felt, we've just got to finish this. And they did. They did it. I mean, relatively easily and in style in that last point, though. I wouldn't say emphatically, but in sort of like Chile fashion.
They just knew what had to be done, and they got it done. And I think most of those players might have had a little while on the sideline with that long point previously, so they're probably raring to go. Know that their teammates have worked hard out there for them, and they've got some fresh legs.
As we see that replay again, Bucks are going to the end zone, extending one hand, grabbing it, raising it in the air, happy that this game is finished. Chile have topped Pool A. They will have topped everything as far as these pool standings go, and they'll have an easier run into the finals. On the other hand, Manly will now have a bit of an effort ahead of them. So that will conclude our commentary of these pool games. We'll take a break for approximately 1 to 2 hours. Have a look on ULTI.TV's website for our next game, which will be the first quarterfinal game here at Nelson Bay, New South Wales for the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships. Thank you to the whole ULTI.TV team. My name is Phil Shields.
And I'm Katie Snellgrove. And we will see you later this afternoon.
ULTI.TV.